Hello crafty souls, welcome back to the channel. So I have just had a parcel delivered, so I'm very excited. So I got this one from Spotlight and I haven't even, this hasn't been opened yet. So as you can see, nothing's open. So I'm going to share with you my opening. And what I actually ordered was a We Are Memory Keepers, which I think they have now changed their name, but for all intents and purposes today I have ordered the We Are Memory Keepers punch board 1, 2, 3. Alright, so, and I have to say I am really impressed. The postage was really quick for this delivery, and I think I ordered it last Wednesday. No, it would have been the other day, a couple of days ago. Anyway, yes, so it's made its way and it is really quick. So as we can see, it's been well wrapped. I can't talk and open at the same time. It's a skill. Learn a skill. I don't know how the little kids do it. I'm like, ooh, I want to keep all the pretties. Okay, here we go. Oh, rustle. All right. So, this is the cream colour punch board from We Are Memory Keepers. Please don't ask me what the name is. All right. 3 punch boards in one. The 1, 2, 3 punch board. So we can make envelopes, bows and boxes. Now I know this is an older product and it's been around for a while, but this is new to me. So we've got the punch and score, multilingual instructions inside, 2 bow, box, envelope. Now please tell me this has the corner punch. Just punch and score. Oh, yes. Biggest feature I was hoping for was that it had the punch and score. Now the one I ordered online was black. However, this is the cream. I don't hate it. Now, can we open it? Alright, so let's cut through the top. Because, you know, I'm not gonna keep the box. I just want to get it open. Okay, there is no chill when it comes to opening things. And, oy vey, okay, that opened it. I don't know if you can hear banging and clanking going on in the background. Today's a day off for me, so I'm always excited when I get deliveries on days off, means I can play with it straight away. So yeah, I'm doing all the washing to catch up on, because you know when you shift work and you don't have time to do all those bits and pieces at home. Patent pending. Interesting. All right. Nothing there. Get rid of those. Don't throw them on the dogs. My constant craft room companions. All right. Oh, it's pretty. Oh, and okay, so we've got the punch, which is rubberized on top, so you can press down on that. Feels nice. This is all textured. We've got score lines, the corner cutter. All right, we have the punch board instruction booklet. So instructions on how to make envelopes. It tells you how to choose your card size and then what the paper size will be, and then where you punch. Where you score for your envelopes. How to make bows. Oh. I may even have to look at how to make a bow. This could be a stretch project for me because I've never made bows before. And then boxes. Ooh, so many ideas, so many ideas. Now I know crafters like Christina Warner uses the Punchboard 123 quite frequently when she makes her envelopes for her cards, especially if they are larger cards, or wants to do some of her mail art. Oh, cool. Coin envelopes. File folder cards. Oh, so many ideas. Great. So we've got the instruction and idea book. Yeah, so the whole point was I wanted a punch board like this as well because it's very difficult to find envelopes to fit the 4 1/4, 5.5 inch cards, which I normally buy from Officeworks here in Australia. However, supplies, I'm not finding as many of the colours that I like. So I thought I would be better off buying the different colours of cardstock that I like and actually using the punch board and making the envelopes myself. Alright, so what I have here is a card guide. Now, I am wondering, card size, paper size, punch guide. I wonder if this is in centimetres. I wonder if the instructions... Let me open this out and have a look. Alright, so this side folds out and we have the guide in here. So 4 bar Gladstone 3.5, 4x6, 4x5.5. So this looks like these instructions are in inches, which is, again, being in Australia, this is the only time I ever use inches, is when I'm making cards. So there we go. And then we've got the box starting line instructions. Oh, look, it's in gold. So, and the instructions on the board are coloured to match the instructions for the bows, the boxes, or the envelopes. So you can see here that the box score areas are done in gold. Oh, sorry, a bit too high. And that's to make small, medium, large. Oh, and then on this side you've got the envelope score lines and score extender. Oh, look at that. So that's your swing out arm. Sorry about the bouncing camera. I'm whacking it with the punch board. So you can see here that comes all the way down. Oh, this is exciting. I love new tools. Box score line C. So we can swing that arm back in. And let's flip this over so you can see underneath there is the scoring tool. And that's going to help to score lines wherever they're needed. Oh, slide that in there. And that sits nestled beautifully in there. So that is the new punch board that I have just received and you have just opened with me from Spotlight. I'm really excited that I was able to actually find it there, and I will make a card and I think an envelope to go with it. So I hope you will come back and join me for the card project. Thanks, guys. So thanks for sticking around and joining me for this card making and envelope creating project. This is a beautiful floral stencil set that I have coloured in with some metallic paints, and I really love this particular floral set, and I fine lined it with this kikki.K fine liner pen, and yeah, so just from kikki.K. So the stencil that I've actually used is from Altenew. So this is the Secret Garden stencil set. It's 7 stencils in the set, which creates this beautiful floral. And it actually has a matching die set. So this die set will cut out all of the floral shape in one big large piece, as you can see. And then it also has all of these different sentiments. So what have we got? 6, 7 different sentiments there that can be cut out. And these were 2 of the products that I was lucky enough to get when I attended a recent Altenew crafty retreat. So it was 12 hours of crafting, and I was in sheer heaven doing that. So that floral garden set is actually, Secret Garden set is one of my favourite stencils at the moment. So I coloured the stencil set just using some random brand of inexpensive metallic watercolour paints. I think I picked it up at like Spotlight or something. And yeah, just went and coloured through all of the stencil, different stencil bits and openings. And I actually coloured it on the Hero Arts black watercolour paper. So this card is not a common card size I make. I'm making a 5x7 card today. So that's a stretch project for me in the fact that it's not a common used size. I've got some clip seal bags full of previously made sentiments and just going through and rummaging to see what I might be happy with to pop on the front of my card. So there's all sorts of different sentiments, and I was having a look to see what sort of colours might go. And yeah, it was the end of a day, so it was a bit of a long extended thought process around it. So I won't bother you too much with the different thoughts that I was encountering. It was more around picking colours and yeah, just seeing what might work. So I believe that one was one of the contenders. It was stamped in black and ink and then embossed with clear embossing powder. So I like that sentiment, and I also like a simple hello card. So it looks like we've got 2 likely candidates that I might be happy with. And then, so these stamps actually come from the Streamlined stamp set from Altenew, which was another product from the Crafty Retreat. And I'm just having a look and finding it's actually a love and thanks sentiment. Just ruffling through and finding more. So there's some nice foiled sentiments. And I like to have a little baggie full of sentiments done up so that if I'm in a hurry to put a card together, it comes together quickly, and you know, I can do it without thinking too much. Because sometimes I just want to craft, but I don't want to think too much about it. So this makes it a little bit easier to do. And yeah, so I've got some foiled sentiments, I've got some stamped ones, I've got some shadow outlines cut out. So I just throw it all. I might do a whole heap and then just pop them all into the bag. And then when the mood strikes, make some more. So I end up with an even bigger bag full of sentiments. So the great thing is with the sentiments that are stamped with the ink and then coloured over with the clear embossing powder, or with the foiled sentiments, if I'm not actually happy with the colour of the cardstock, I can actually grab some of my inks and use a blending brush and just change the colour of the cardstock, because the embossing powder and the foil will actually do the ink resist the ink. So I finally, after rummaging through all of those sentiments, made the decision to use the You Make Me Smile, and as for a background to mount the floral set on, I'm using the Streamlined 3D embossing folder. So I'm just cutting down a plain white cardstock panel, and I'm actually making it smaller than the 5x7. I think I made it 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And I'm going to use just some antique linen distress ink just to colour the background. I'm not doing anything fancy here. I'm not making sure that it's well blended. I'm just trying to get that colour on the cardstock because I don't own a big enough piece of cream colour cardstock. So I decided to make it. And I actually like the patchy look. It kind of gives it that distressed, weathered look. And it provides a nice background for the flowers to actually sit on. So just going through and getting that all done. And yeah, so it makes life a bit easier. And now popping that cardstock, and I'm going to spray it with a bit of my distress sprayer just to help soften the cardstock so it doesn't crack. And here I was having a real moment trying to figure out which sandwich I needed to use for the 3D embossing folder. So different die cut machines will have different sandwiches to use. So just figure out what works best for you. There are some machines out there that will actually give you the plate sandwich and tell you which ones to use. So yeah, I was having quite a few moments with this sandwich in particular. Now you'll have noticed that the cardstock actually hangs out the bottom of the embossing folder. The embossing folder is a 6x6, and I wasn't able to get a full complete emboss of that cardstock. So I've got that patch where it's not actually embossed. And look at that beautiful debossed side. I love this embossing folder. It's grabbed my heart. And I just had a look and realised my base plate needs a good clean. So I'm sitting that floral piece over the top of the embossed cardstock, and I've still got that edge. Wasn't sure what to do. I was thinking about trying to emboss it in a different direction, and yeah. So I ended up deciding to just grab a gold strip, and I'm using just some plain gold matte cardstock, something I think I picked up from Spotlight, and pop that onto the end of it, and that actually hides the end where there is no embossing. So that's a trick, is if you don't have enough space, create a strip to hide what's missing, basically. Strip of cardstock hides all mistakes and all missing bits. I'm just using my little gum eraser to get the bits of glue, because they tend to sit on the top of the cardstock and it's really noticeable. So just positioning my card. And as you can see here, I wasn't happy with just a plain white sentiment. So I thought I would just use my antique linen again to colour that in. So that little grey silicone mat that I'm using is actually my Simon Says Stamp cube ink holder upside down. And it just holds those little bits well. So just going to glue my lovely large floral, having a few moments with my glue container there with the fine tip, and just glue that floral panel down onto the front of the card. Pop my sentiment on, and yeah, there are all sorts of different sorts of adhesives you can use. I tend to just stick with the liquid glue, but find what works for you and you do you, basically. So with the intricate design on the back of the cardstock from the embossed piece, I like to use the liquid glue because I could just put it onto all of the level surfaces, and then that will actually make good contact with the front of the card. So this card actually came together really quickly for me because I had everything already made. I think the longest decision I had was trying to figure out what to do with the panel, because the 3D embossing folder wasn't quite big enough. And I've learnt the hard way, clean my glass mat in between all of my making, because I don't know how many insides of the cards I have actually fouled up because of it. Alright, so that's the card done. Now, I actually filmed this a couple of days apart. So in between I've had a manicure, and it's gotten a bit chilly here in Cairns, so I'm wearing a jumper. So I found the A7 dimensions for making the envelope. So it's cutting the paper to 10.25 by 10.25, and I'm actually using 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. So this is a great opportunity for me to get in and use all of my unused scrapbook papers. And this was a really nice one. I liked the colors and the whole theme of it. It kind of matched the front of the card and had a bit of a whimsical appearance. So to give you an idea how easy this card envelope is to actually make, I filmed this after finishing night duty. So I was able to come home and actually make this envelope. So the first initial punch is to the punch guide at 4.5 or whatever is indicated on that side panel, and then scoring along the A line for the card. So making sure I get all the punches done. And then I had a moment there and I was like, oh, hang on. Nope. And I was like, oh, I forgot to do some score lines. So I turned my paper back again and did my score from the other side. So again at that 4.5 inch mark. And I just make sure that when I'm actually going in with my scoring tool, something I've learned is not to press too hard because you will crack the paper. I actually destroyed a nice piece of similar scrapbook paper because I scored too hard and actually cracked it all. So running those lines. And you'll see on the arm there's actually 2 lines. So if you wanted to make a box style envelope, you would also do the second score line. So you can see there I've got all my punch outs and all my score marks. So I'll just get my punch board out of the way. And the little pirate hat remnants from where all the corners got punched out. So just get that out of the way. As you can see, that's your leftover remnants. And another suggestion is if you're making a few envelopes at a time, clean out the remnants from under the punch board because it will get to a point where it won't be able to punch. I learnt that. I had a bit of a play with it first. So just folding all the sides down and then gluing along the flaps to the back. And something else I've learnt for myself is glue along the actual flaps, not the side flaps, not the base flap itself. So I was just having a few moments with some glue, trying to get it all undone. I thought I'd cut all of this out. Oops. Yeah, so I glued one side down and went through, and then, so as you can see, gluing the side flap down and going on along the edge of that flap, and that will ensure that you get it all stuck down. Because if you glue it to the edges of the bottom flap, you'll actually have loose bits along the side flaps, hence why I'm going back through, because the first one I actually glued it along the side of the base flap. It's all trial and error. We do what we do and we learn from it and we keep moving on. So for the top flap, what I've actually grabbed is some double-sided tape, and I'm going to apply that to the pointy top sides. Have my moments with my tape. Learning with my lovely manicure, jewels not tools. And I still try and make it as difficult for myself as possible and use my nails. So just applying that to the top edge of the flap. Now here I wasn't sure if I needed to cut it short, if there was going to be any issues around where it stuck down. But I found you can run the tape along the whole length of that top flap, and that will stick it down nicely. So it was about here I started getting quite delirious post night shift, but I managed to get it done. So yeah, and that just gives you an idea of how easy it is to use the punch board to create envelopes. So making sure you use a good thicker quality paper, so that when you are scoring, there's less likelihood of you actually cracking the paper, or just pressing a little bit lighter with the scoring tool. I found you don't need to use a stylus. The supplied little bone folder that's actually in there is more than enough to do the scoring on the punch board. Alright, so that is the envelope basically finished, and it's beautiful. So here is, this is where you can tailor make your envelopes to match your cards, any color scheme you want. And the beauty of it is I've made it as a 5 by an A7 card, which is 5 by 7, but it is a little bit larger, so it does have room to fit those little bits and pieces that are just hanging off the edge of the card. So as you can see, fits beautifully, plenty of room. So if I wanted to embellish that and make it any thicker, that gives me that room. So I'm so excited about this. I appreciate you joining me today, and please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.